Don't leave any room for anyone to think anything different, because they're going to believe what they believe, but it's our job to get them to believe in health, right? But the serotonin inhibitors, we don't need more serotonin, folks. Most people are running around in delta. When we train them, they're going to have a high degree of delta because they're inflamed. When you have inflammation in the body, it's going to show up as high delta brainwave activity. So we have sessions in the morning, we call it digital coffee. We want to wake up the brain. And it's a brainwave called SMR, sensory motor rhythm, that as we get better looking and more intelligent with age, that brainwave, that's the one that neurofeedback people are going to train you to, because it's going to help with your balance, your vestibular system. Now, this is something really important, because somebody had even more up there yesterday, which was very interesting, but we always say it's trauma, toxins, or thoughts, right? So we have to get the toxins out of the brain in order to heal the brain. The problem is, just like our gut and leaky gut, we have leaky brain. And that happens when our brain isn't detoxing. But in 2016, in Scientific America, they showed that our lymphatic system, we always had lymphatic vessels there, but they just found them in 2016. I thought that was pretty amazing. Anywhere there's a blood vessel, there's a lymphatic vessel, because that's the garbage man of the system. But in the brain, it only opens up during level 4 sleep. Now, why is that important? If you don't reach level 4 sleep, that's deep delta sleep, you don't ever detox your brain. I don't care what you do during the day. I don't care what supplement you take. It's not going to happen. And some of you might even woke up while this cleaning cycle was going on, because you wake up, you have sleep paralysis. Your system is so intelligent that while it's doing this cleaning process, it takes the brain offline. You can't move. That's when it's dumping. Now, it only takes microseconds. So it has to do it 5 or 6 times. If we're not detoxing that brain during sleep, we wake up, we have foggy brain, we have a compromised memory, all these things happening because those toxins have to go somewhere. That's where we get that leaky brain from, just like the gut. So there's also something called delta burst. The reason you have energy when you sleep is not the number of hours you sleep. That is a misnomer. Everybody says, well, I slept for 8 hours, I'm still tired. Yeah, did you figure out how much deep sleep you were getting? We found in most of our studies that if somebody gets an hour of deep sleep or more, it doesn't matter if you sleep 4 hours, you're going to have energy through the day because of something called delta burst and the resetting of the circadian rhythm. The length of time is before lights, before what we have here, the average person slept 12 hours a day. Basically, you didn't want to burn candles. They were very expensive. Now we can turn on the TV, the internet, whatever. We stay up late. Our bodies need what our bodies need. And somebody says, how much sleep do I need? Well, I like what Deepak Chopra says in his book, Quantum Healing, where he said, take a time when you're on vacation, don't use alarm clocks, go to sleep when you want, wake up when you want. By the time a week's ended, you'll figure out how much sleep you need. But when you're awake, get up. So many people, they wake up and they go, oh, it's only 6 o'clock, I need 8 hours. No, you need to get up. Your body's telling you you're on an up cycle. If you wake up in a down cycle, you're tired all day. Because the brain, it's like an electric motor, it needs to cycle through. And if you wake up in an up cycle, you have energy. So these are the things that are in BrainTap, which we can go into. And there's actually a good video online called Just the Facts, where I produced for a naturopathic college, because it's not a sales video, it just talks about the science, and it takes about 45 minutes to go through it, so you can kind of go through that if you want. But all these things are happening at the same time. We can also add in like the massage bed. We have people using beds like that. We have people using Alpha Stim. We have people using anything that we have now, grounding, and my wife's got that now. So we're going to start promoting that, because anything you can do with it at the same time, it's just going to be complementary. I don't think there's any competition. We do a lot with pulse harmonic, the PEMFs. You can use this. There was only one PEMF system that we couldn't do it. It was coming through our earphones as clicking, but most of them don't do that. So you can use this if somebody's laying there relaxing for 10 to 20 minutes, they can do BrainTap at the same time. And the nice thing is, when Ohio State did a study with our franchise, and we showed that we had 1-year programs. And they said, nobody's going to come in for 1 year. 93% of our clients came in every day for a year over a 5-year study. They come in because they're getting something new, something different every time. Now, they're getting the same therapies, but they're listening to a different message. They're getting a different brain entrainment. We have a maintenance program for weight loss that lasts 1.5 years. So when we found that in order to keep those people with keeping their weight off, we had to keep them in a program for 2 years. It's not how fast you can do it. It's how long they can train their neurology. If you can train the neurology, they're going to make changes. When all that happens, you have something called a relaxation response. So I'm going to invite you all to come to our booth, get the scan, find out how your nervous system's doing. We can do a pre and post with you, and then try out the brain tap, and maybe we can integrate it into your practices. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much, Patrick. So we got to move along real fast here. I want to introduce you to the next speaker. Clint Ober is probably one of, just like Patrick, is one of the world's foremost experts on grounding. What we've always been talking about over the past day and today is the nature's ability to help the body heal and provides us with all the resources, the tools that we need. And what's really amazing, the simplest and the easiest way for us to get some of that from nature is just to walk on ground barefoot. Please welcome Clint Ober.
Thank you, Al. Okay, I've spent the last 20 years working on this project, and it's very rare that I stand in front of a group of people. So what we have this morning is I'm going to talk for about 10 minutes, then we're going to show you about a 10, 12-minute movie, a clip for movies, because a picture's worth 1,000 words, and then Jim is going to bring up the tail end. So, and then everybody here today, there is a book and a movie for you to take with you. So please remember that. So what we're going to do, and how do I work this machine? Do I just...
Push this button here.
We can't hear you.
You just push this button, you go
Okay.
forward, and this comes back.
Okay, cool.
And this is the red light.
Okay, very good. I'm going to try to speak into the mic so everybody can hear me. So anyhow, the ground therapy. Ground therapy is, what we've learned is that, am I going the right way? Well, just throw a couple of things in here. One, I've worked on this for over 20 years. We have over 20 peer-reviewed published studies at half a dozen different universities. So there's been a lot of work on this, a lot of research. And the reason it's so simple, you would not think you have to do any research, but because it is so simple, everybody can't believe it, so we had to really get down to the bottom and find the mechanisms of action that, why grounding does what it does. So anyhow, to me, it's a very simple story. It's about Mr. Barefoot and Mr. Shoes. One time when there was a pack of PhD students from one of the universities, they came in and they just couldn't quite understand what I was talking about, because we're talking about the earth being negative and the body being positive and so on. So I had to draw this picture and show that the earth is negatively charged, meaning it has about 20, 30 millivolts of electrons.
Fix this for you.
Thank you. All the help I can get, I'll take. So anyhow, the Earth has a negative surface charge. What that means is negative means free electrons that can move and reduce charge. That's why everything in the electrical world that I come from, originally communications, everything has to be grounded to the earth so you can have electrical stability, so everything can function, so you can have good, clean data on your computer, to your TV pictures or your sound or whatever, run it over satellites. Everything has to be maintained at earth potential to prevent lightning, static electricity, and so on. So anyhow, the earth, there is an active layer of electrons on the surface of the earth. Anything connected to the earth, a tree, it's negative, it's grounded. An animal or a human being. So in 1960, we invented plastics. And it's hard to believe that it was only 60 years ago, 58, 59 years ago, that we invented plastics. The first thing we did with plastics is we put them on the soles of our shoes. So Mr. Shoes is not grounded. But the human body is conductive, so when you touch the earth, your body goes negative 20 millivolts. You cannot have charge in a grounded body. You cannot have charge in a grounded computer, a grounded anything. That's why everything in electrical is grounded. The significance of that is the human body is the most electrical thing in the environment. Every cell in your body is electrical in nature. And an electron, electrical works at the speed of light. So there's a big difference. Just like when, how does information get from your brain to your toe in just a nanosecond? It is not necessarily through the neural system. We have radio frequencies. We have all kinds of information trafficking. So anyhow, let's go on here. So this chart here shows since 1960 the growth of rubber sole shoes. Now, I spent 30 years in the communications industry, and one day I just asked myself, I said, I wonder, is there any consequence to humans no longer being naturally grounded? And I didn't know. And so I got some voltmeters, and I started doing a bunch of tests and all of these kind of things. And over a period of time, we learned very quickly that if you have chronic pain, arthritis, any kind of chronic pain, just recent surgery, it doesn't matter what it is. If you take an electrode patch, like an EKG patch, and connect it to a wire and connect it to the earth, the pain will disappear almost instantly. And so what that is pain is generally pain, inflammation. If you have inflammation, then pain is a manifestation that you have inflammation. So what happens generally is you have a pathogen or you have a damaged cell or a cut or something, and so the immune system produces neutrophils or whatever, white blood cells. They come over and they encapsulate the damaged cell, whatever, release reactive oxygen